Good evening. Welcome to the McLuhan Institute Live number 37. Here we are in Eric McLuhan's library. I'm just getting set up here. This is where every week I am in Eric McLuhan's library of 6,000 or so volumes, and I spend the evening cataloging his books and spending time with him. And it's very interesting and a great experience. Hey, Em. And say Rain, hey, buddy. So here I am, and thanks for joining us. I'm still going through the so-called McLuhan shelves, which are over there. These two cases in particular, but it also extends further. And I start at the top and I'm working my way down, and I'll go over to the top and down. And I'm currently, last week, we were in the Understanding Media, Understanding Poetry, which was hard to get through because I really need to read Understanding Poetry, but we only have so much time. And this week I have a stack of books off the top. I have no idea what this is. It's Japanese, and it seems to be a summary, of McLuhan works, maybe a bit of a biography about Marshall, but I don't know. So if there are any Japanese speakers among the audience, if you want to let me know, that would be appreciated, or I'll ask. I do have some Japanese friends. Because usually when my father was sent a book, as would be the case here, there's usually a note of explanation. And there's nothing like that in here, which suggests one wasn't sent, which is kind of odd, but what can you do? I've already gone through getting back to Understanding Media, another Arabic edition of Understanding Me. I think this is 1966, a pretty early translation. We have quite a collection. I'm not through yet, so I can't tell you how many languages Understanding Media was translated into, but suffice to say, it was a lot. This is a Bosnian translation, which is kind of cool. And if you're tuning in on YouTube and wonder where episode 36 is, the one I did last week, I ran into a weird glitch on YouTube, and it won't let me upload anything more than 15 minutes long without verifying the account, but I verified the account, so I don't know what the deal is. So I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Of course, I didn't make a note of the time. Anyway, we're coming up within the next week, before the next edition here, to the second anniversary of the death of Eric McLuhan, May 18th, which is a very significant event in my life, obviously. And as it happens, the book I just inventoried is Finding McLuhan, The Mind, the Man, the Message, edited by our friend Jacqueline McLeod-Rogers with Tracy Whalen and Catherine G. Taylor, University of Saskatchewan, Regina, University of Regina. Jacqueline is at the University of Winnipeg, and she writes here, June 6, 2015, Hi Eric. With many thanks for the time you took to talk. I have also benefited from some of your reading suggestions too, ! And I thought what I would do is spend about 10 minutes. There's an interview here, and I just thought I'd read some of it so we can spend a bit of time with Dad. And I hope you'll indulge me. And I hope you don't mind, Jackie. Eric McLuhan, Living the Legacy. On a muggy May morning in 2012, I took a streetcar up to Gerrard Street to a house in Toronto's Upper Beaches to meet with Eric McLuhan to discuss his recollections of his father and his continuing engagement with his father's work. As Emily is tuned in, Emily, I'm guessing this was at your place. I don't know if you remember this happening at all. I knew that Eric just turned 70, had recently published 3 books. According to his description, one of them, The Human Equation, The Constant in Human Development from Pre-Literacy to Post-Literacy, is the first installment of an intended series, co-written with a mime, quote, who better to understand the rhythms and actions of the body, unquote. Eric noted, see McLuhan and Constantino, it explores 4 essential embodied patterns of human behavior. A quick note on that, people have been asking where the final books of the Human Equation series are. Oh, Emily remembers. Great. I recently heard from the publisher of the Human Equation, Don Bastian, who is retired and had been trying to finish the project and is unable to. So I guess it's up to me to find a way to publish the last 2 books, 4 and 5. The first 3 parts of the Human Equation are published and available. You can find them online. Parts 4 and 5, I believe, are all but done. They just need to be published. And when those are all published, I'll see about putting them all together as one volume. But given that people have bought the series individually up to now, I think it's only right to publish the last 2 as standalones to make a collection. So Dad's talking about the Human Equation. He asked me to name the 4 main tools that we use to eat, our cutlery options, as it were, and I listed spoon, fork, knife, and chopsticks. Exactly, he said. 2 to use with the plate and 2 for the bowl. This is an illustration that extends to all human invention. Innovation always comes in groups of 4. For me, this is Jackie, this exchange about the significance of patterns revealed to those who pay attention is emblematic of his engagement with the difficulties and rewards of perception. Many of his ideas presented variants of the theme that pattern recognition is the reward for coming to our senses, yet there can be a loneliness in knowing what others have yet to grasp. You see that with Marshall and Eric. The other 2 books undertake a fresh articulation of core elements of Marshall McLuhan's thinking. Eric described the attachment to spatiality of media and formal cause in this way. And by the way, Eric, Dad described this series of books, The Human Equation, as understanding media as told by the body. So it is a very interesting series. Quote, formal cause has been misunderstood since the Middle Ages. It is environmental cause, not linear causality, and we switched to linear, bracket efficient, cause as a mode of science about 1,000 years ago. All our modern media exert their causal powers via the environment, so our established modes of study are helpless to understand them. Needless to say, formal cause is the principal mode of my father's approach to media, which explains why people find him baffling. And Dad published in 2012 Formal Media and Formal Cause, a collection of essays by Eric and by Marshall McLuhan on the topic of formal causality as we know it from Aristotle. And there's also, if you go to the YouTube channel, I've uploaded, I recorded as a voice memo Eric McLuhan responding to a panel at the 2017 Media Ecology Association conference about formal cause, and it's 20 minutes of Dad talking about formal cause, which is fantastic and really easy to listen to. Recommended. I'm going to finish up here because I think we might be approaching. Eric was adamant that the role of education is to train perception toward building synesthetic awareness. Quote, most of us ignore our potential. I have taken a class of students on a field trip, all of them blindfolded. It was winter time, and when we got into a snowball fight, blindfolds in place, all of the students could still hit me dead on. Do you know why? Without being able to see, they developed 360-degree vision. I mean this quite literally. They could see forward to the sides and right around to the back, once they got adjusted to being stripped of regular sightedness. One of the boys was standing on a balcony looking forward, yet when I came into the room behind him, he immediately put up his hand and waved hello. He could see me, literally eyes in the back of his head. And lastly, Jackie asks, what do you remember about the early years growing up? I don't spend a lot of time thinking far back. You know, I just turned 70 and I have about 10 books that still need to get written and come out. Thanks, Dad. So I'm consumed with getting on with work that still needs to be done. Some of it involves extending projects my father started, and some of it is my own. Would you highlight something in particular as a formative experience or event? I spent 4 years in the U.S. Air Force. Because I had U.S. citizenship, born in St. Louis, I would have been drafted and sent to Vietnam. May have. So I decided to enlist so I could choose the Air Force rather than being thrown into foot patrols as gun fodder. As it was, I spent the time at a desk as a supply clerk somewhere in Montana. I hated it. It was really tough 4 years. I probably saw enough damn stupidity to last a lifetime. I don't think it's entirely a matter of having been in the U.S. military. The Canadian military is likely about the same. Once you're in, you stay till you've done your time. After 4 years, I was out of there. If I'd stayed, I would have been sent to Vietnam. I saw the orders in the works. After that, I moved back home, and within a year, we wrote Culture is Our Business. We wrote it sitting side by side at the ping pong table at home. I guess the results were mixed, since our approach was like throwing darts at a target. Some hit and some missed. That's the idea of a probe. When I did my master's at Stevens Point, that's the University of Wisconsin, I got from that what I consider a rhetoric degree, and I did my PhD on Finnegan's Wake in Dallas, the state my mother came from, and then I worked alongside my father for a fascinating 15-year collaboration. And I was really lucky to spend about 10 years following my dad around and trying to learn with him. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe out there. We'll catch you next week.